Good morning, everyone. We're looking at Matthew's Gospel, chapter 23 today, verses 13 to 22. Jesus gets quite confrontational, if you like, with the scribes and Pharisees, and he does call a spade a shovel and really does put them in their place. And today he says to them, "Alas for you, scribes and Pharisees, you hypocrites." Now, this is quite surprising for the scribes and Pharisees because they're supposed to be the knowledgeable leaders of the Jewish faith. They're the people who know the writings. In fact, many of them have been responsible for putting the laws together. He says to them, "You swear by the temple, not by heaven, not by the throne of God." And what he's saying is, effectively, you guys are putting so much faith in the building itself. And you're swearing by the building itself and saying, well, that's it. And not looking beyond that in terms of where is God. We stand in the church today, in the parish church, and at one stage we used to have our parish logo, if you like, our code of conduct, the way in which we feel about the church. And we used to describe this not just as the house of God, but as the home of God. And I think the distinction is quite important. If we think about going after work, going home, we walk into the house. And inside the house, there's so much that is familiar to us and that gives us a sense of belonging. And that's why we call it a home. And that's where the family is together. And I think that's the distinction that really Jesus is saying. There's a difference between the temple and what the temple represents. And so we find ourselves here in the building, which is the church, but essentially we, the people of God, we are the church. And I think with that goes a realization that sometimes we might look at the building and look at the structure of the Catholic Church and say, well, those are a set of rules. And some people hold on to those feverishly. And there are other people who would say, well, those are just rules and you look past them, I can make my own rules. And there's a danger in that. It makes me think that, that there are a few fallacies around even still, well after COVID, about Mass. I encountered somebody the other day who sort of said, I don't go to Mass on Sundays, but I go during the week. That's a fallacy. Where did they get that from? The church has never issued instructions saying it's okay to go to Mass during the week instead of Sunday. It said keep the Sabbath holy. If you want to go during the week as well, that's fine, that's great. But that doesn't mean it lets you off going to church on a Sunday, because we need to keep the Sunday holy, the Sabbath holy. I think the same applies also to those who sit comfortably in their armchairs and watch Mass on TV. You're not attending Mass. And so people say, oh no, I'm getting spiritual communion. That issue of spiritual communion is what was spoken about during COVID, when people weren't able to get to Mass to receive the full Eucharistic presence of the Lord when we go to communion. You're not actually attending Mass when you watch it on TV. You're watching it. And there's a big difference. And I think if we can get past those fallacies, it'll enrich us ourselves. And we'll become more of a community that the Lord wants. You have yourselves a wonderful day. We'll see you again. God bless. Bye-bye.